Good morning, sunshine. My name is Milena. I'm a second-year university student. I just finished up my exam, and this is what I did the day before. I usually start my day the night before, where I list out the things that I want to do, so a schedule and a to-do list, and I basically follow it roughly throughout the day. I usually wake up before my alarm goes, and today I woke up at 6:30. I made my bed. I did a little bit of stretching because my back was hurting. I went and brushed my teeth and did all the hygienic stuff, and it was off to go downstairs where I drank a bunch of water because I was dehydrated. Yesterday I went grocery shopping and I picked up some things, including some of my favorite snacks, such as this one. Delicious. And since I picked up some fresh apples, I wanted to make a pastry with them, so I threw some ingredients together and I made my version of a Dutch apple flop while I watched some Lucifer. Ooh, by the way, a new season's coming out soon. Anyway, so I popped them into the oven until they started sizzling, and I was afraid I was going to burn myself, so I knew they were ready, and so I brought them out and voila! Since me and my grandma were gonna hang out later that day, I decided to store them for later. So I just took some of the leftover filling and I threw them into some cereal. I had my breakfast while I was reading Invisible Women, which is honestly a book I recommend. It's extremely interesting, and I basically spent my whole morning just devouring the book. And so by 8:30 I was upstairs and I was doing a session of ANKI. And if you don't know what ANKI is, I recommend you watch my other video where I talk about it. But basically I was doing some revision for the exam and I got to cross some things off my to-do list. We're gonna go outside to have some tea and some snacks, and so I've changed into my garden attire where I now will protect my eyes with this very fancy hat. And even though it is sunny, it's still very cold, and so this fashionable little sweater. Ooh. Okay, so we're a little bit behind schedule, but that's fine. It's 12 o'clock right now, so I'm gonna start reviewing. I'm gonna do some practice exams, and I got my cup of tea, so let's get started. Okay, so since I'm studying for 2 exams, I have my econometrics exam and then my marketing exam. I've got my 2 piles. So this is everything I need for marketing, and this is everything I need for econometrics, like to study. My little catalog is also in there. That's clearly not really relevant for econometrics. To find past exams, I go to Sudoku, and I can basically find all the documents from the last couple of years. I usually start with the most recent exams, just because they usually have the most relevant concepts and topics. Like some people, they go all the way back. They go to like the 13th century exam, like it's chiseled in stone, and they're like, "But professor, this wasn't in the lecture slides." Anyways, and so throughout the day, if I realize that I still need a little bit more practice, I add more things to my to-do list. And so when reviewing for the exams, I usually make my version of the syllabus, so with some abbreviations and some extra bullet points, and then I color code them according to how well I understand each concept. On top of that, I also add annotations, like what is this, or how can I explain this, and maybe like a few examples on this, and that usually helps me get an overall view of the concepts and everything that I need to know for the exam. And when I really have no idea what something is, I Google it. Yes. So I usually eat lunch whenever I start getting hungry, and in this case it was around 2 p.m. And so I kind of wanted to have some miso soup, but I also wanted a sandwich. And so I took everything I would have put in a miso soup in a sandwich. Yeah, I felt pretty entrepreneurial. And then during lunch, I spent some time reading over the newspapers, and then I watched some TV. Since I was inside the whole day, I felt like going out for a run, and so I spent some time outside getting some fresh air. Oh, and by the way, right now I'm visiting my family in the north of the Netherlands, so it's just like a lot of farms. You get used to it after a while. She's looking right at me. I should probably go. Revision, I always make a calendar in the beginning of each block where I outline what I'm going to learn each week so that it seems a little bit less overwhelming. And then afterwards, you guessed it, I did another session of ANKI. If you don't believe me at this point that ANKI isn't good stuff, that's on you. Okay, so last night I did all the steps that I had to do to prepare for the online exam. So at Erasmus, you have to do like proctoring. So basically, they need to make sure that you're not cheating. So they make you check out, if the audio is working, if the camera is working. We actually have to use a second camera. So it's basically your phone and you gotta put it behind you so that they can see that you're not cheating. And so as a break, I decided that I was gonna do some cleaning up. And I called my boyfriend Thomas. So as we chatted, I cleaned the windows because there have been a lot of constructions in my street this week. It was quite nasty actually. And so I made sure to get that cleaned, and I also dusted my plants. I then looked over and reviewed some of the assignments for the econometrics exam, and I did that on the floor because it was really sunny and I was trying to enjoy the weather. And well, now that I look at it, this is probably why I have back pain. This is basically just a time lapse of me getting scoliosis. And then at 7 p.m. we had a marketing association meeting with the committee, and afterwards we decided to play some Among Us. And honestly, okay, look at this. Like, what kind of fever dream kind of usernames are these? Dubcrypt? Lumpy? What? Okay, anyways, I really need to talk with the person who created these. And so at 9:30, I went downstairs to make dinner, which was basically just a bunch of vegetables with some soy sauce. And then I did some cleaning up. Since the majority of my family lives in Brazil, 11 p.m. is usually the best time to give them a call. And so I called my grandma and we chatted for a while, and then I made sure to call my sister because, yeah, I really miss them. And so by midnight, I was already really tired and I went to bed. Alright, that was it, guys. Bye!